Welcome back to Stream 3. Our next speakers are Christian Dollfus and Guang Lu. They would have been a very short way, they would have held a short way to the conference if we would have held it in Lucerne, since they both are lecturers at the Institute of Communication and Marketing at HLSU, so the Lucerne University of Applied Sciences and Arts, which is only 300 meters from Lucerne's Culture and Convention Center. But today they join remotely. The title of the talk is Intelligent Branding for Less Well-Known Enterprising by Matching Culture Values of Employers and Candidates. Why only recommend movies using a Netflix-style collaborative filtering algorithm? This presentation shows how to employ a job recommendation based on the candidate's culture preferences using the same algorithm. Please welcome Christian and Guang.
Good morning, everyone. This is Guang Lu.
Hello, it's Christian Dollfus speaking.
We are from the Institute of Communication and Marketing, Business School, Hochschule Luzern. Today, we are very happy to be here to present to you our research project, Intelligent Branding for Less Well-Known Enterprises by Matching Cultural Values of Employers and Candidates. The outline of our presentation would be as follows. First, we will give background information about our institute, this project, as well as our research partners. And second, we will show you interesting employer-candidate network patterns that can be identified from big data. Then correlations between employers and candidates will be shown according to the cultural values. Based on these findings, we propose to build up a culture recommender which is aimed to boost the match of employers and candidates. Especially, the culture recommender brings less well-known enterprises to the stage and helps them find the suitable candidates. Furthermore, a machine learning-based job predictor will be established in order to influence the job opening time on labor market. Finally, we will give summary and outlook for our research project.
Okay, well, who are we? From this diagram, you could see that we are a data science and engineering team from the Institute of Communication and Marketing of the Hochschule Luzern. We aim to integrate modern data science and engineering technologies into social and management science and generate impact to our society and economy. Besides us two, we have another two colleagues in our project team. Matthias Fleck, he is the head of our institute, who is also a leading researcher in the field of entrepreneurship and mentor for startups around the globe. Thomas Wozniak is an outstanding researcher at Science-Based Innovations, particularly in the area of marketing and communication. In this project, I am responsible for the data engineering part, while Guang is responsible for the data science part. Here we have our two industry partners. Both are job portals and are leading in Swiss market. MyCareerGate is a startup that enables agencies and companies to find needed talents on the labor market and to perform active sourcing of job-seeking candidates. X28 is famous in the HR field as they provide smart tools for labor market and also feeds MyCareerGate with actualized comprehensive job data in Switzerland on a daily basis. These are some snapshots of the user interface of MyCareerGate. Here, candidate can import or select their desired employers and job functions. Importantly, MyCareerGate allows candidates to address their emphasized culture values to maximum 3 of them. This forms the basis for the matching between employers and candidates based on their culture values. Overall, this project aims to develop AI-driven engine for the job and candidate portal of MyCareerGate in order to enhance the employer-candidate matching process, leveraging their culture values. During this process, we aim to enhance branding less well-known enterprises by speeding up their finding of the potentially matching candidates who are having culture preferences that are aligning with their own.
Okay, let's take a look at a network of employers built from culture. Here, we have randomly selected 50 employers within the mechanical and construction engineering sector. The internal network structures is shown according to the similarity of cultural values between these employers. Interestingly, it can be seen that the network structures are different under different cultural values, such as innovation and sustainability. This implies to us that culture can play an important role in employer branding. In order to deeper dive into the patterns lying behind data, we further explore 4 perspectives, namely candidate, employer, culture, and job. This diagram shows to you how candidate age and expected salary are changing with respect to industry sectors. We have observed that candidate age is less varying compared to expected salary over the industry sectors. Of course, we must take into account the different sizes of the industry sectors. Here, the size of industry sector is estimated using the number of candidates for that particular sector. Using the perspectives from candidates about employers' cultural values, we are able to compare the cultural characteristics of the different industry sectors. For example, we see from the right diagram that the mechanical engineering sector is more emphasizing customer orientation in comparison to the other sectors, which also aligns with our general expectations. Importantly, we have noticed that candidates are valuing innovation, professionality, and respect a lot. These values also represent the most central theme of our digital era. On the desired workplaces, we have found interesting results as well. For example, among the candidates who registered on My Career Gate, many of them prefer to work in Zurich region in Switzerland. This also indicates the competitive nature of the Swiss job market, which calls for novel employer branding tools to help these employers more easily find the suitable candidates.
Okay, let us get into the core part of this research project, from culture correlation to a match between candidates and employers. We have tried many different methods or established brand new tools to these aspects, such as culture correlation, employer clustering, and culture recommender. On this diagram, you see the culture correlations viewed by candidates. These are based on a statistical analysis of candidate selections from My Career Gate data. Interesting patterns can be observed. For example, mutability and courage are positively correlated, which is kind of reasonable, as they both correspond to changes. However, innovation and respect are negatively correlated, which is somewhat surprising, as there seems to be no direct contradiction between the two. We believe that these observations show from the candidates' perspectives how they tend to explain and select the cultural values combinations. They are also important for employer branding because certain value combinations can be well branded to attract candidates. Starting from culture correlations, we prepare to analyze employer clustering based on their culture values. You can imagine that in My Career Gate system, each employer is labeled with a feature vector consisting of the rating of culture values given by candidates. In this case, we could identify the similarity between employers and cluster them into different branches in a hierarchical dendrogram. One can move along the dendrogram such that one feels the match of cultural values between employers and candidates. For example, we have illustrated 5 groups of employers based on their culture characteristics. In each group of employers, the culture values are ranked according to how important these cultural values are to this group of employers. Therefore, candidates could easily identify which group of employers will mostly meet their expectations about employer culture and try to reach out to those employers. In turn, this also indicates a chance to recommend employers to the candidates who hold the same value as those of the employers.
Okay, and we believe that a recommender system is not a foreign name to you, right? We encounter a recommender system almost every day when you go shopping, listening to music, reading news on Handy, watching movies online, etc. This project leverages the recommendation methodology originally used in the Netflix price competition, the so-called matrix factorization. This method belongs to collaborative filtering techniques, which consider the potential interdependencies of the users or items to identify their new associations. To construct the matrix factorization-based recommender, we have established a rating matrix with employers' names as rows and culture values as columns. In this matrix, each element is given a value counting the number of selections provided by candidates to that employer value pair, with a higher number indicating that the corresponding employer value pair is more accepted by candidates. Without giving more technical details, the diagram on the right compares clearly the ratings for the employer value pairs before and after the recommendation. Considering the latent factors acting upon employers and cultural networks, we identify the hidden, less well-known enterprises which potentially have comparable cultural values to those of well-known enterprises. Here, we must notice that employer value pairs highlighted by the red box, which correspond to low ratings originally on the right, but generally higher ratings after recommendation on the left. Our cultural recommender brings less well-known enterprises to the front through an improved branding of their cultural values. And this can be also valuable in filling up their labor gaps. Therefore, we have tried to build up a machine learning-enabled job predictor, which aims to speed up the filling rate of job openings on the labor market. According to the close to 175,000 job openings information that MyCareerGate has accessed so far, the Swiss labor market exhibits a non-uniform time and space distribution for the job openings. Especially, most of the jobs stay open within a half-year period and are distributed around the Zurich, Basel, and Bern regions. Therefore, a random forest algorithm in scikit-learn has been employed in this project for building the job predictor. After removing the outliers, filtering for the important features in random forest, tuning the performance of the predictor, and performing five-fold cross-validation, we have reached a prediction accuracy of approximately 0.7. Subsequently, we input the new cultural ratings obtained in the previous ratings matrix together with the employer popularity into our predictor and let it predict the job's opening time. The predict 175,000 jobs opening time based on our cultural recommender is on average about 0.16 months, shorter than reality. In particular, as highlighted by the figure on the right, the predicted jobs opening time for less well-known enterprises is mostly shorter than the actual time. Apparently, less well-known enterprises can speed up their jobs filling rate and improve their competitiveness on talent market through the enhanced cultural branding to candidates.
So this brings us to the summary and the outlook of this research project. First, we have achieved some key findings in this project. Using an AI-based system, employers can be recommended to the candidates having similar value preferences. Second, individual employer can be clustered into different groups according to the employer branding of their cultural values. Third, a similarity map of employers can be established using selected values, so they these employers are comparable from the viewpoint of candidates. Fourth, the values sustainability and trust are not seen as very important in the view of candidates, in contrast to innovation and professionality. And fifth, according to labor market prediction, less well-known enterprises will have shorter job opening time with the right employer branding. So after this project, we have mastered new data science tool set at our institute. These tools range from data engineering to data science, which can be applied to employer branding, corporate culture, evaluation, and labor market prediction. So we would like to mention the modern advanced computer science tools that we have used in this project for your reference. This is Python for the data science and machine learning programming. We use the Pentao data integration for the whole ETL process, Neo4j for establishing our graph database, as well as Tableau and Gephi to show interesting patterns lying in big data.
Thank you very much for your attention. We are very glad to answer your questions and also to collaborate with you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guang. Thank you, Christian. We have a couple of minutes now for questions. One of the things I was wondering is, do you think adding additional features, additional attributes will improve the recommender? And if yes, which?
Yes, and currently we have selected these 25 cultural values, and for the candidates, these are defined on the job portal My Career Gate. In the future, we plan to add more cultural values which can represent more broad streams of the cultural characteristics to this platform, and the user, the candidates, can easily select these cultural values, add them to the profiles.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we also have other parameters that we can include. So this culture value was a little bit random selected, but we thought that this is an important, a very important feature. But to answer the question, yes, we will implement more.
Is your system capable of making a recommendation for a completely new user or a completely new company without any history? So, and actually this makes me, we can also tie it into my question, which was, did you look at other baselines and other recommendation algorithms, such as a content-based one, right, where you could recommend jobs based on the similarity between the user profile and the job profile or the company profile?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think for the first one, yes. And if the new companies and new employer, new candidates come into this platform, and this is the cold start problems, we don't have history data for them, but of course we can use content-based recommendation techniques to consider the similarity between the employer, similarity between the candidates, and also the job descriptions, and to recommend suitable positions to these kind of candidates. And based on their selections, because the candidates enter the platform, they must select some desired companies or cultural values that they wish to work, and also the functions of the job. We have more information about these candidates. This all helps us to build recommendation engines and for recommending correct employer to the candidates. The second question regarding have we compared to the other baselines? Yes, in this case, we also performed very different techniques, including deep learning technologies to predict the cultural values of less well-known enterprises. The results obtained are quite comparable to our matrix factorization-based technique.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. And thanks for joining us today, and hope to see you again at the SDS. We will now move to the next speaker. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.